so I don't look better than he does. I'm recording now, Chrissy. Thank you.
Hey, you ready?
So yeah, it's just going to be a running joke about why bad audio because podcaster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, here I am holding the speaker up near the microphone, so we're super
Very
professional.
high-tech.
Yeah. Welcome to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. It doesn't matter what kind of lemon champ or lucky track dog league you run, SEC or NASA, we won't discriminate. As long as you drive it hard and build it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussions, tips, tricks, as well as news and notes for the world of amateur endurance racing. And whether it's on the spot, hella sweep, or we're lucky enough, and Chrissy gives us just the tip, we're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less. Everyone report to the paddock. This is Chris. This is Strange.
This is Chrissy.
This is Matt, not Jeff.
And I'm Mental.
And we are Everyone Racers. Thank you for coming back and listening. Because on this episode, we're going to pod like it's 199. Oops, it's 199. So if you're not driving the little red Corvette, get out your bingo card because you might win. You never know. Let's talk about what you're working on. Mental, you've got some fun things going on.
So I spent the weekend slowly melting at Button Willow Raceway. Genuinely had a great time. I was coaching with the Vintage Auto Racing Association, and they also went in and signed me off on my competition license. Both the students I had came along really well. One of them, Jesse, it's the team owner's son-in-law that I ran Thunderhill with, and he got addicted to the whole racing thing, just coming out and, helping us with whatever he could. And he's a great guy. He grew up in Indianapolis, but his family was never into racing, and he just kind of written it off. And then he meets a girl, falls in love with her, gets married, finds out that her dad's a gearhead. So now he's all kinds of geeked. Our last time together was in a spec E46 BMW and that was over a year ago, 2020's very university. So a year and a half ago. And he spent all of that downtime in Corona watching videos, really working on his mindset. The first session we ever went out, he was trying to do what a lot of new racers do, is just force it, make it happen. And I've never seen a complete transition. Even it was 18 months apart, a complete transition from one state of mind to the other. He was very zen, very gentle with the controls, not looking at a clock, but really focused on being smooth. From Saturday first session to the last session, we knocked 11 seconds off his time, and then he got 9 seconds faster off of that by Sunday afternoon, and is just really come along. The other student was Sarah, daughter of the mechanic. She got her first E30 BMW when she was 16, decided she didn't like the manual, so she didn't like the automatic, so she put a manual in it. So she was coming at it from a point of mechanical sympathy. So she was brilliant right out of the word go. Our only thing was trying to get her to be more aggressive. And because I was there coaching with those guys, I got to drive an E30 M3 on the track in anger. Literally the greatest thing that's ever happened to me on a racetrack. Top 5 experiences of my life. And if I can get away with sharing the screen real quick, I'm going to nerd out and just show the website picture of it real quick. All right.
Your prior favorite on track car.
Your concerned face, Chrissy, is awesome.
I'm concerned. Thanks. I shouldn't show people my concerned face. Yeah,
it's Mental taking control of something. Of course, it's a concerned face.
I was afraid I was going to get yelled at that it didn't work. Is what I was, because that happens.
Oh, please.
Nice.
All right. So yeah, that is actually, and of course the brand, I'm going to be buying a picture of this, but yeah, that's that E30 M3. The car right behind it is the E46, that same one that we ran Thunderhill, driven by the team owner. About a lap later, one of those Lotus 211s, the little special purpose cars, gets around him and starts coming up on me. But then I was really getting comfortable with the car, and I took him to Gapplebee's for the lunch special. Never saw him again. It was just amazing.
Excellent. Now, your previous favorite on track car, I think, was the Radical, right?
Yes.
No. Yeah.
This one, and it honestly, speed wise, the Z, it's not the fastest car I've driven. I think the Z would probably take it. The Honda in the right hands would make it work, but it was just so perfect. You asked it to do something and it went, yeah, sure. You want to go into this corner? Yeah, just fling the rear end out. I'll slow down. It'll be fine. Just so perfectly balanced. Stock drivetrain, just a lot of very perfect refinements from the independent mechanic La Hala BMW in San Diego, probably the best BMW shop in that area. It's just amazing.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
Well, that's wonderful.
Next time you're in Buttonwillow, let me know, buddy.
Absolutely.
When you
could have come up there and just been absolutely. It was so hot.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, never mind.
So painfully hot.
No.
So hot.
Yeah.
And they have less than great facilities there.
Oh yeah, no, I'm used to that there, but yeah.
And I
but
had
still,
the
even if it's
RV.
hot.
Yeah,
Oh.
I had the RV. But we ended up modifying the plug so we could use their 220 because it was just that bad. And then I'm coaching in full race gear with no cool shirt. Yeah, it was harsh.
That's terrible. Okay.
Chris, you guys had, according to Facebook, a lovely weekend.
We did. We went to the Hamptons. Saw my friend Paul. Had a great time there. Since then, I've been working on the Corvette, including taking out some of the most disgusting fuel parts I've ever seen in my life.
Pictures are awesome.
Right.
We've got some listener feedback on that because that generated a lot of discussion. It's awesome.
Yeah, and then even more fun, reaching your arm into the little hole in the tank and scooping out handfuls of detritus that were actually mostly confined to the center. I have to say, whether it was gravity or they're mostly coming off the sending unit.
It just all fell from one place because it hasn't moved. So everything just went right to one little pile.
The Corvette tanks are lined with something. It's not rubber, but it's like a polyethylene or something like that. So it actually, like, the inside of the tank is in fine shape. So new sending unit, new fuel pump, new gasket, new all that crap in. Also did all the ignition stuff. So new cap, wires, rotor, plugs are all out, oil in the cylinders, turn it over by hand, turn smooth. New clutch master is just about in, new batteries in, interior is a little more back together. So it's making good progress. So I'm going to work on it most of this weekend. And,
Rock Auto to the rescue.
Yeah, between Rock Auto,
a little.
Eckler's Corvette, and more Rock Auto. Yeah.
Hashtag they should totally sponsor us.
I haven't kept up, but I'll be highly curious to understand what the plan is for that vehicle. I'm sure you've already talked about it, so I won't belabor the rest of the listeners.
There's no real plan. It's more just like, well, it's an 84 Corvette.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Got a spot for it. I mean,
what are you going to do?
I
it
got
is one
a
of the
spot
worst,
for it. Please, we don't
one
have
of the
a
worst
spot for it.
ever. But it looks cool, and it's it's just fun, like joke around car. Yeah.
No, not even that.
And this one's the Doug Nash. I think that alone makes it interesting.
It's a terrible, terrible car.
Terrible car.
It's just at that right age where it's got the good nostalgia going for it.
Yeah,
if you keep it the way it is. And so I think it'll be drive it around some, go to Radwood, and I'm going to try to take it to an HPD or two because, what the hell?
It'd be funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll beat somebody.
Yep. Maybe. That Miata, maybe. 1.6.
I had a 93 for like 2 months, and it was so bad I just got rid of it.
Yeah. It's not a good car by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
It's just interesting at this point, kind of.
Totally.
And that's it. Anyway, Matt, what have you been working on? Well, let's go to Chrissy first. I can't say Chrissy, what are you working on?
No, it's fine.
No, it's because I didn't skip Chrissy. I'm trying to not go from me
you
to
know
her
what,
because
Clip,
there's
if it's on your bingo card, just check it off because it happened. It's great. I was relaxing with Chris, and I am not working on a Corvette. It's kind of a stance. It's it's gross, and it's so hot here. Check that off on your bingo card too. It's so hot here. I know I should not complain with either of you here, but it's just I don't even want to stand outside. So it's a good reason not to. So I make dinner and stuff. All right. That's what I'm doing. And by now you've heard a guest host chiming in and not hearing about Jeff and what he's doing. If you've seen any Northeast Lemons coverage, and you know him by sight and from his 2020 Lemons Drivers Championship. Heck yeah. Known for, on this show and good friends as Pantless Matt. We are thrilled to have you. Don't F this up. What you working on?
Well,
What's that? What are you holding up for the people that are listening on the podcast?
Yeah, I got crutches in my hand. I blew my ACL skiing. I kind of went full send as a Matt Farides does, and popped my ACL in March at Snowbird. So I've been hobbling around on a wonky knee since and trying to find a decent time to get it done. really I was trying to plan around racing, which will surprise exactly no one.
On you.
Was supposed to be done a few weeks ago, but doctors probably were more inclined to go to Italy once things opened up than they were fixing my knee. So things moved to the right, and it got done 2 days. That's actually really probably what happened.
I love that you're bagging on your doctor for going to Italy when you were scheduling it around your racing.
He's getting paid. So
yeah. So anyway, so I'm in recovery mode. I got parents here helping, and Alicia here helping, and I am very grateful for all that. But in the meantime, we've actually been pretty productive this week. Piers has been poking around projects here. I bought this house in December, so there's a bunch of there was 5 panels or dishes on the roof here. I don't know what they were trying to tune in, but sprinklers getting done here. And the big one is the concrete guys showed up this morning and cut the perimeter of the garage floor out. So they're going to start breaking it up tomorrow. So hopefully we'll be pouring fresh concrete by the end of the week, which means 2-post lift is probably only about a month out at this point.
Excellent.
The garage behind his house, for those of you that don't follow him on one of the social medias, it's pretty epic. But when he bought the house, it had one kind of creaky barn door held together with a twist tie and another roll-up door, and then the creepy kidnap interrogation room in the back that was so bad. Corey and Tim?
Yeah. Corey and Tim's
as they are deciding what to do, Corey and Tim smashed the room to pieces because they didn't even want it there. Bad juju, bad karma, whatever. They're like, nope, that's coming out right now. Don't even like knowing it exists.
They helped me move in, and that evening, after we moved stuff all day, didn't even hesitate. There were sledgehammers swinging by dinner time.
I'm sure it was done completely sober too.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. You're going to smash a creepy room in your house. Do you want to be sober?
Corey runs around with a may contain alcohol shirt on 90% of the time. So.
Oh, and who doesn't love Corey?
Oh man, totally.
Absolutely. Good. Well, hey, Matt, great to have you.
Thanks, guys.
So thanks for coming.
It's good to be had.
All right. So am I doing all the yelling tonight, or Chrissy? Do you want to
I think it's funnier. I think it's funnier when Chrissy yells because she yells at the that. I think that's just funny.
She yells at the ceiling because so Erling doesn't get his eardrums blown.
Right. I have to yell one way, so that's the way I yell.
It looks like Jeff got that Veloster just in time, sort of. So Colin Wood over at Grassroots Motorsports tells us that Hyundai has confirmed they will no longer sell anything but the in-spec version of the Veloster next year. Now, this is based on low market demand, eliminates the 2.0, the 2 Premium, Turbo R-Spec, and Ultimate Trends. And as Colin says, at least it makes sense on the surface as a 3-door, 4-door if you count the hatch. Hatchback can be a hard sell for someone who's not into quirky cars quite as much as some of us are. And the reason I say just in time is the N is a sub-range of the Veloster. And I think the Veloster is not going to make it past 2022, especially now Hyundai is releasing the versions, the in-spec version of the Kona and of the Sonata, which will the Sonata will have a 5-speed, the same engine, and the really cool paint job on that one. I'm sorry, the Elantra, not the.
And what's amazing is, and this is a world where the Veloster is the best looking car of all those. And it's really hard to pick 5 cars. And the Veloster is definitely the best looking one. It's so sad.
It is. But the link to our article is show notes. And of course, this is Grassroots Motorsports. All the comments are about how dumb and weird that car is. And this is GRM. These are our people. So I guess when weirdos don't like your car is really weird.
Yep. Matt, you want this one? No. Okay.
On the subject of weird cars, and we know weird cars, Davis Tracy just wrote a great series of articles over at Jalopnik. If you don't read David's work, he's an unapologetic Jeep fanatic. Some years ago, he went to buy a bargain-priced Cherokee that had a mechanical issue and instead spent 12 hours fixing it for the owner. That sounds too familiar. This time, his constant writing about manual transmission Jeep Grand Cherokees helped push a raffle for a mint condition 94 Grand Cherokee that had been in storage for 27 years. The end result was that the raffle generated 47 grand for a community center and cancer charity. Link to heartwarming article will be in the notes. It's a feel good story right there.
Absolutely.
So nice. All right, let's talk about not heartwarming, not felt good, not money giving story here. This weekend is the British Grand Prix F1, the brand Grand Prix. F1 has introduced a new concept, and we're going to look to Hazel Southwell at the drive for how this is going to work. Friday, there's going to be a practice session, and that afternoon, a regular qualifying session. The 5 slowest cars are going to get eliminated in Q1. Next 5 slowest in Q2. Next 5 slowest in Q3. The results of Q3 will set the grid for Saturday's sprint qualifying. Saturday, we're going to have a second practice session for an hour. And then in the afternoon, a 17-lap sprint qualifying race. And it's going to have no pit stops and whatever tires they want. This is kind of exciting.
It is.
The finishing order from the sprint race determines the grid for Sunday's main race, but top 3 finishers of the sprint race will earn championship points. Lewis Hamilton is predicting that this will be a procession, but as the top 3 teams earn points, but former F1 CEO Ross Brown thinks they will fight harder for a good starting position on Sunday. Regardless, it's going to be an awesome race. Check out both the qualifying and the race, but also check out our F1 Fantasy League if you're interested, especially if you're already playing, because you might be doing really well in ours. And if you're already in the league, make sure that you get your picks in early, because predictions close earlier on Saturday than they usually do, and or don't and forget, and that's okay, because I'm in second.
If you guys notice that our former guest, the other Andrew Dead Pedal Racing, the other person, the other host of the, I don't know why my brain's not working today, but the host of the Apex Adjacent, his dad has joined us under Dead Pedal Racing, is also instantly now high ranked, and through actually really good predictions, I'm 16th. I don't know how I've done well these last 2 races, and I am. I think
it's your team.
Yeah, it probably is. It is. I am bottom.
Haas all the way.
I should have joined you guys.
Join now.
Join us. You're probably going to do
worse than mental.
Mental and Jeff, they're so low on the list.
Jeff's like 2 places above me right now. It's Bert One, who I think has made no choices in any of the races, and then the Everyone Racers account, which I control and I don't make any predictions on, and then me, and that's And Jeff jumped up 2. I don't know how that happened, but so my team is awful.
I've been watching most of them because we actually produce some equipment that ends up on some of the Formula One cars.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun to see.
It's fun to see.
Yeah, kind of fun to watch. So
it's been doing well.
Upcoming races.
See, this is awesome.
I got upcoming races.
That's better. That's much better.
American Endurance Racing is running the full course at VIR. They're scheduled for Saturday and Sunday, 8-hour days each. It'll have 48 cars. 30 of them are BMWs.
Boring.
1 Miata, 3 Hondas, 8 Porsches, and 1 MF and Vet.
Sweet.
What year though?
07. I want to say.
Oh, it's a new one. Okay.
Yeah. C6. That's all right. That's respectable.
Yep. Champ cars over at Nelson Ledges. That's Nelson's Ledges for some of you folks. 40 cars, 8 BMWs.
Boring.
12 Miatas, 5 Hondas, 4 Porsches, and an 89 Chevy Beretta.
Whoa.
Yeah. They're drinking Figo. And Nelson Ledges with Beretta.
Shoot. 40 cars though, and there's a low numbers for all of those things. That's not so bad for Champ car.
So good luck to them, especially the Beretta.
Hell yeah.
Lucky Dog is at Charlotte for race 2 of 3 for their Carolina Endurance Cup. There are 25 cars, which is not very much. 3 of them, boring BMWs.
Boring.
I don't know. It's only 3. It's not so bad. 6
Miatas. Good. That's why you should race Lucky Dog.
Right? 6 Miatas, 1 Honda, no Porsches, and a Cadillac XLR.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah. Kind of like a Corvette. Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, WRL is going to be at Road Atlanta. They've got 65 cars, 25 BMWs.
Boring.
6 Miatas, 3 Hondas. As much as it pains me to say boring, 18 Porsches.
Wow.
But they do have a 2000 Pontiac NASCAR.
NASCAR.
That is going to be sketchy coming through 11 to 12.
You think?
How about the rest of the course? Not?
No,
Yeah.
like, the back straightaway in that NASCAR, that's just going to sound like freedom.
Yep. America.
Racing results.
There are none.
Nope,
None.
there are. Okay, this is a fun one. Okay, on Facebook, I posted pics of that Vets. I think it's a 15-year-old.
It's 20.
Field. Okay.
2001 inspection sticker.
Okay, well, I was thinking the gas in it is 15 years old. I apologize. 20-year-old fuel tank contents.
Yeah, Luke Anthony sympathized with their rusty Yoda tanks, and Tyler Stank gave us rusty Mazda tales of woe.
Brian
The
Mosio,
smell.
been there, done that. The smell gets in you. At least GM parts are available. I had a similar situation on an inherited 70 Fiat 850. Not always easy to source old Italian parts. Actually, I would say not always easy. It's never easy.
No.
Nope.
Yeah.
James McGuire offered siphon as much as you can, then wipe clean with paper towels. Recommend grabbing the plastic cup, rip it out, and then install Holly Hydromat. While Al Jones said, "I can smell that picture." Go get a few gallons of muriatic acid or muriatic. Thank you. I was going to look it up beforehand. I didn't. Muriatic, whatever, or white vinegar, and let it soak for a few days.
And you say it really wasn't as bad as it looked in there
Yeah.
once it was wiped out. I think because of that liner, it really cleaned up okay.
Now, Bill Fisher said, I have several jars that can clean that. They're double digits on the label, and that scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, you don't want to go past number 4.
Seriously, and that was like burns your face off.
Yeah. Hey, like I said, the results actually were pretty good. Just wiping it off with a paper with rags and paper towels and hands and stuff. And
I wanted to say this when you mentioned earlier, like everyone who listens to this podcast probably has that sensation of reaching into that one dark thing and just grabbing squishy, gooey stuff and pulling it out and throwing it into a bucket and making that face as you do it, knowing that it has to happen.
Gooey. It was mostly like rusty chunks and like the bits of the filter sock that had just disintegrated over time.
Turned into goo.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Lady A dropped us an email with a link to her review of the Velastar N, saying, "This one's for Jeff, who's already down with the Velastar N." And that link is in our notes.
If you're not checking out Auburn on Highway, she gets access to some really cool stuff.
Great.
I'm sorry. On that blaster thread on YouTube, Tim Burr said, "Jeff, take that damn car to the track and don't let Jim drive." Too soon? I'm pretty sure it's not too soon.
Tim Burr. I love that dude.
Also on the YouTubes, last week's episode with John Polnick prompted AJ to say, "I'm not a Porsche owner, but was invited to happy hour hosted by the PCA group one time. I must have heard the phrase, 'Oh, I'm a retired dentist,' at least 30 times that night." Now, John himself actually talks about that crowd, and the phrase he uses is the pleated shorts crowd. And he loves upsetting the pleated shorts guys.
That's okay. Hey, check out John and Deebs on Bid Nerds for their live updates this past weekend from Radwood San Fran. Link in our notes. And last Thursday, Bid Nerds had a very special guest, Chrissy. It's on Facebook. Greg O'Brien said, "Thanks for the heads up. I was on the long turnpike cruise south, returning from helmet shopping at Sable Energies, and this is way better than scanning through urban radio stations."
Finally, there was a lot of love for Jim's new Miata on Facebook.
Yep.
Looked like a pretty good find.
Yeah, I was. I think Chris, you found that and put it in the Slack channels. I bought it off Grassroots Motorsports. Hell of a deal. Yeah. Now, normally we would talk about the Lemons iRacing League, but they're done for a few weeks. But you know what's not done? The E1R iRacing League.
And for the talk about that E1R racing, we went to NHMS, New Hampshire Motorsports Park, with Class C cars, then B class cars, with a South Oval configuration. How was it? I assume Mento was there.
I didn't make the first race. I was recovering from not sleeping this weekend. I made the second race at New Hampshire, and it's just always a fun time with that crowd. I want to say Uncle Dave was set up to win, but then deliberately stopped short of the finish line on the straightaway just so he could take somebody else out. So I have no idea. I think he was like,
unlike an Uncle Dave thing.
He was hunting for second place, and Lamito was there. Yeah, so it's just a good time.
You know, whoever punts someone out of the way for first place, it's Chrissy's mom.
Maybe so.
Yeah. Hi, Chrissy's mom.
Hi, Chrissy's mom.
All right. Speaking of moms, where's your mom, Matt?
Oh, she swept by.
Oh, okay, there she is. All right.
Come on back. You can wave.
Mom saying.
You're saying, where's mom?
There we go. All right.
She's a
Hi,
saint.
Matt's mom.
She's in from New York
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
to help me out for the week, which was very
That's
sweet.
very nice.
And
Thanks
we
for
know
being
it's
great, Matt's mom.
yes, and we know it's Matt's mom because she's wearing a purple shirt.
Well, we're thrilled to have Matt here tonight, and we thought we'd talk about something that Matt knows more about than about anyone else that I've ever met, especially as evidenced by his 2020 Drivers' Championship. Booyah.
National effing champion.
That's right. Matt, we need to talk. We'll talk about that in a minute, but in general, we're going to talk, how do you be such a seat whore? And, you know, because everyone wants seat time. How do you get the maximum amount of seat time? And then even if, you know, you can't afford all the entry fees, you still want to get involved a lot. What are ways that we can do that too for people who just really want to be full in, immersed in this stuff? So, hey, just for those of you who don't know, for people who don't know who you are, like, give us the quick intro, and then let's talk about your Drivers' Championship after that.
And thank you for having me. And I love you guys, and I can't wait to race with you again. So, I mean, it started in 2010. Dean Halter and I kind of initially got the bug. We were at, we'd all heard about it. We're all car nerds on the party racing crew. And we had seen this thing, 24 Hours of Lemons, you know, in Motor Trend or whatever, you know, it was popping up in here and there in the news. But so somebody, I think it was Eric Nelson actually, who runs that 34 later car. I think it was Eric Nelson who had a car at our work car show. And it was an old Saab with the exhaust running up over the roof. And I'm like, what is this magical thing? And so Dean and I looked at each other and we're like, we got to go do something. And like 2 weeks later, we bought.
I remember that car. Yeah, it was like wrapped. Yeah.
Yep. It had a header wrap going up over the roof. Yeah. And so a week or two later, Dean and I had an 83 or 84 Camaro in my driveway, starting to tear it down to go into the other car. And so party racing was always from soon thereafter, we drafted some homies, and the five of us have basically been the same team ever since, until just the past couple of years. A couple of guys are tied up with other things in life, and now Dean and I are on the West Coast. So Stark Party Racing made a name for ourselves by partying with you guys, and you know, all the wild parties that happened in New England. I don't want to say revolved around us, but we certainly didn't miss any of them.
Pretty sure though, we have to remember back to like your first, the first race that we met you in New Jersey-ish. Yeah. Maybe not the first time, but you had a pretty lame theme. I just want to bring that back a little bit.
The Roger Smith thing was a request by Judge Phil, and he loved it. So we crushed that theme, and actually the pictures are really cool of all us dressed up in like horrible 70s GM executive suits. But soon after, we're like, all right, we need to do something else. And the party racing thing was a clever idea by Travis. We weren't intending that it would gain so much ground, but it was just too much fun. So we've been doing it ever since. So 84 Firebird is what we built way back when. And it is, I would say until a week ago, is in the garage here in California now. Zebra printed, not a single stock thing left in the car because it's all been broken 5 times. It's a battle wagon with, I don't know, it's got to have close to 35 races on it now. And of course, there's, random famous incidents like putting the wheel into the window of
Don't wheel me, bro.
Don't wheel me, bro. So that's kind of the history there with the team, and we're all still tight. We're hoping to get our other teammates back when they have a little more time for racing. But Dean and I are still very motivated, as you guys can see. I mean, we have multiple cars now, and you guys have helped us acquire the Solstice, and thank you so much for that. The car has been phenomenal. But with all that, and with all the notoriety, and just being a visible part of the Lemons crew, I've had a lot of opportunities to drive other cars. like yours.
Yeah, which that's really gone well for you most of the time when you show up to our cars, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, for everyone else, the first time I drove a 3-pedal Mafia car, or was intended to, well, that was my first arrive and drive. So that'll give you an idea. I had always been, just the party racing car. I didn't have opportunities other than that. And you guys were kind enough to let me sign up to drive CMP in the boat, which I still think is the best Lemons car of all time. Not even close.
So do we.
And I was so excited to drive that thing. I drove it for like a minute or two on practice day. And then Jeff went out and drove it at the beginning of the race, and it's smoking out the back of it. And he's looking at the oil, the oil temp is through the roof, and he's like, "Oh, the gauge must be broken." And
it's always the gauge.
Yeah,
it's always the gauge.
And we won't get into the mundane details of it, but that was my first arrive and drive experience.
Spent the weekend rebuilding it. Yes, it was great.
Yeah,
I did get some hot laps in the Honda though, which was fun, and thank you for that.
Yeah, well,
I think you've driven everything that's in the 3 p.m. stable, because you've driven Betty, you've driven the Cressy, you drove the Honda.
Yep.
Yeah, we drove the Honda when it was a single cam.
Yeah, that's ages ago. Yeah,
ages ago. But you've driven the Z, which for not many people can say they've driven the Z.
Oh, we only all done it just for a minute, so it's fine.
Yeah, the Mazda. Yeah, great. Well, so how does the Drivers' Championship work, and how did you actually get that?
So I didn't know that much about it, and I hadn't been paying attention until Mental was bugging me last year. He's like, "Oh man, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it." I'm like, "What? What are we talking about?" He's like,
"Yeah, I'm gonna.
You're gonna take the championship from me." And I was like, "The what?" So the Drivers' Championship, I had to do some research on it because I didn't really. I'm like, I don't understand how I'm a good driver, but I drive lots of junk too. So anyway, the Drivers' Championship is set up where you get, I think, 3 points per entry. So if you just sign your name and pay your dues on any team, you get 3 points. That also, if you're on multiple teams in the same race, you still get those 3 points. If you are on that roster for a car that finishes in the top 10, you get a point for each place, 10 minus. So if you're in 10th place, you get 1 point, and up to 10 points for first place. That's about it. It's that simple. I don't think there's any other ways to earn points as a driver.
No, that's it, really.
I would love to see it more of like, rather than just the top 10 cars, I'd love to see it, maybe 5 points for A, B, and C. So if you finish in, second place for C class, I would love to see it that way personally, because so many of us are proud of our C and B finishes, and, Lemons loves to. So anyway, that was the only thing I would change about the points situation.
And so all kinds of fabulous prizes come with that, right? Cash money,
contracts,
trophy,
absolutely,
contracts.
F1 scouts,
plaque.
My phone's been off the hook, guys.
Oh, those F1 guys, they're so funny.
But I mean, really, the best thing I can do is when someone's like says they have a seat open. I was like, well, do you want the national effing champ to drive with you?
Yes. Do you say that?
I do. I absolutely do. Have you met me?
So awesome.
You know what never works is when I say, well, you want the second place? No, we don't. But do you have Matt's number? I'll take Matt's number.
But
I think we have some trophies around. We should be giving you. We should have given you last time. We were the national effing champs, and so we have all these things around.
I should be walking around like Macho Man with a national effing driver champion T-shirt on.
Well, aren't you a T-shirt maker now, or you're trying to make that happen?
Now we're talking about it. That seems obvious. Maybe I'll do that for Button Willow.
Duh.
Duh.
So the discussion of this is, being a seat whore and stuff like that. But you're actually coming at this from both perspectives. You've built cars, you've managed cars, you've helped fix cars that you weren't going to drive and you didn't.
More often than you would imagine.
Right. Last year at Barber, you spent the whole weekend welding a car that you weren't scheduled to drive, had no intention of driving. You just wanted to be that. But having also built cars and preserved cars, give us your perspective on how to be a good arrive and drive and how to make sure you get invited back.
Those are great questions. Yeah. It's really heartbreaking when you built a car and so much time and money goes into it and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and then someone stacks it up And if they have no
way
skin in the game,
no.
If they have no skin in the game,
here.
it's much worse, right? If it's, so on the party racing team, we have been hesitant to do that until the past couple of years, where we've other folks that we trust have driven the car, and we've moved past that, right? It's at this point, we don't care as much about the car as we did 10 years ago.
I think you're still choosy about your team, though, aren't you?
Of course. So how are you a good arrive and drive? I'm going to say it depends, right? Because some teams, you arrive and drive with Corey and you don't do a damn thing. I mean, you show up there, the car's ready to go. He's got a buddy that's making dinner for you that you pay $20 into, which is awesome. The Motherfucker guys are awesome. And so it depends, right? And so from Corey's perspective, if you want to be a good arrive and drive with him, show up, don't break the car. Do what he says. It's that easy. It was a little different for us at CMP. We're running 2 cars for the first time, and it was really just Dean and Jackie and I, and Jackie wasn't even driving. So you guys were there for some of that.
She did a killer job of being.
Dude, there were so many cats.
Cat herder,
herd cats.
But so, to the point of being a good arrive and drive, everyone helped as much as they could, and we appreciated it. There's things that people could have done a little more of, doing fuel swaps and things like that. And so we learned a lot because that was our first time doing it. And seeing how Corey does things and seeing how much we messed up things here and there. Setting ground rules is super important for the owner/owning team. Like Corey will say, if you're getting in the car next, you make sure your fuel is ready, period. No questions asked. And so that's just a rule. And it's like, and if you don't get in the car, it's your own damn fault because you weren't. So I think ground rules is important.
We like that one too. We try to have set roles for everyone on the team, especially when we're running those weekends where we have 4 or 5 cars. It gets a little insane. So everyone knows, all right, my job is X. All right.
And I think, the ultimate thing is, I don't know, I say this about too many things, like don't be a dick, be a dude, right? So if it's really that simple. I mean, you're driving somebody else's equipment, and if they ask you to do a thing and you don't like it, bite your tongue and do what they say. It's their car. And this is Lemons. Mercedes is not looking to sign me up to be the second driver for Hamilton. So we should all be lucky to be there.
They would do well to consider you.
Right? National effing champion. Come on.
Don't you know who you're talking to? Come on.
How many championships does Valtteri have? Huh?
Oh, that's mean.
That's an interesting thing, because that was a hard bit for me. The first time I'd driven with Corey twice, but not in his car. We'd both been on other teams, and then his car, he's a very good arrive and drive, but then when it's his car, he very quickly flips into a leadership, I'll just do it myself mode. And it was driving me nuts. And I'm not good at a lot of stuff, but one of the things that I'm very bad at is sitting around while other people work. So I had to find something that team needed. And I think, that's what I was trying to do. And I think that's one of the reasons Corey and I get along. But Corey is a fantastic human being. And I think Corey also respects if you're just helping somebody else wrench on their crap. He's a karma kind of guy. Yeah.
And so, the answer to that question is, if you have the option to be choosy about who you drive with, that helps. I mean, I have had the luxury of having some really great options most of the time. But for the most part, going open-minded and see what the team leader or team owner wants and try to do what they said. And don't break the car.
And I still keep breaking the car.
Yeah.
I've done a couple.
And then what do you do?
Yeah. I stuffed Uncle Dave's Cressida, and Aaron and Dave were not so happy with me, and I deserved it. And it was just a mistake.
You tweaked it. You didn't.
It was just a mistake. And you know what? And shit does happen, but I tried to do my best to make amends for that.
Well, and that's what I was getting at is if something does happen, don't leave.
Oh, yeah.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. That happened. Mental did that. He drove a car.
I complained about the car breaking 3 times, and then I left.
Ideally, don't do that.
Well, this is exactly why we like people who have their own teams come for Arrive and Drive, because they all get the mechanical respect, because they all know how much time and effort goes from these things.
Yeah, it's so much.
They all get how much other work there is, like, oh, who's checking for fuel, who's like making sure there's not just trash all over the ground or a big bucket of oil someone's going to step in, like who's worried about lunch,
Yeah. So don't, right. So that's another thing.
Fuel.
Just don't sit on your ass.
Yeah.
Right. Don't act entitled, right? You're there because someone else has given you the opportunity to be there. So do something, make food, clean up things, whatever it is.
Yeah. There's pretty much always something to do.
Yeah.
And if not, you can walk around and find someone else that needs your help even more.
Right, because if you're not standing in your rented paddock, then you can't get in trouble. If you're going to help with somebody else, somebody's going to be like, unless you had a job that you didn't do yourself. But really, helping somebody else is just as good almost as, helping your team, especially if there's nothing that needs to be done.
I do want to go back because you're talking about, being choosy, and I would argue anyone can afford to be choosy about their teams. Now, you may not get your first choice, but if you're talking to a team owner and you're already not vibing on emails and stuff like that, you need to choose to be someplace else, because that's going to lead to conflict and it's going to reflect on your reputation. Dishwashing Fairy Steve and I did an Arrive and Drive at CMP years ago, and we were talking with the guy, and he just had a very laid back approach to, didn't really want to do hot pit fueling, just bring it over to the gas pumps. But Matt, you were talking about, he clearly communicated, these are our expectations. We're here to have fun. Yeah. And they weren't going to be competitive. And I think anyone can find that team. And if you can't find that team, we'll introduce you to Randy Bish. But there are teams out there. Be choosy about who you're going to drive with, because you are, even if it's your very first time, you are building your reputation. Don't oversell yourself. Find somebody that is going to match your abilities and goals.
Or at least be open to, there's plenty of cars out there that there's huge mismatches on the team and they don't care. Right.
Well, mismatches in talent is fine, but mismatches in personality, you're going to have a terrible weekend.
That's the deal.
Right. Or if you are I am a serious real racer, and then you run with Donnie for the weekend, you're going to have a bad time. Okay.
You're going to have a bad time.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is hard to do otherwise when you're hanging around.
When you're hanging out with Donnie.
Paddock. Right.
Or even if you're a real racer, or you're going in and saying that's your attitude, and something happens and you're out of contention, or something you're not necessarily, or the team that you're dealing with is not as fast as you thought they were, that's where I come back to being accepting of what you just take the experience for what you got, and just
check yourself, have a good time,
shut up and have a good time.
Yeah.
You're going to have probably some stories and some laughs. So
go find the party racing paddock and have a board meeting.
And if you bring the drinks, they'll be even happier with you.
And I'm going to throw this out there. It didn't make it to the Thunder Hill wrap-up video, but Sorry for Party kept /Ramwood Parked, kept the entire Lemon staff fed and lubricated once the track went cold. I mean, this is where they were at the very farthest end of the paddock, and every night you could find nothing but orange shirts in that paddock. It was fantastic.
Bribe the judges, make friends. Like I said, don't be a dick, be a dude. It's really simple.
Yeah.
We're ready to talk about Sorry for Party. I don't even know how we want to do this, but how have you kept up your theme? And if somebody else wanted to have a cool theme like that, how would they do it, but not copy yours? Is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
Because your theme's already been copied. No one else should copy the copy.
Yeah, no. Many times.
And some people still wear it.
Worse every time.
Yeah. Well, you guys had fun with it, and I didn't get to enjoy that as much as I should have.
Oh, you didn't?
Well, I missed a couple that I had one race where I couldn't make it for a wedding, and one race where I couldn't make it because I was sick. Both in that year, which sucked. But
we definitely did some really good Sorry for Party.
I saw pictures and I loved it. I was there for a little bit of it. I was there for the Sorry, SARI version.
SARI for party. Yep. That was a good Honda dance we did.
Yeah. So I'm sitting here trying to think of other themes that have had such staying power, and I'm actually having a hard time.
Well, Amanda, I think Amanda's, it got kind of played and then it settled into a trademark. And then she went through everyone for a loop when she did the Buick.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people that have had the same paint job for a long time, but it's not necessarily a theme.
Yeah.
No, but she walks around in her outfit and that kind of stuff. And I'm trying to think, the Garage Heroes, it's a slight tweak, but they're still job. Always nerds. They're always going to be the comic book geeks. That's always fun.
That's a good one. But I feel like the party racing crew has always been, we kind of just go all in. I mean, it's always just been like a full send kind of thing. and people know us for that, and we have just capitalized on it. And how to make a good theme? I mean, we kind of fell into that. We didn't know it was going to last the way it did.
But, and you can't get the good clothes that you have because the company
doesn't even exist anymore.
No, people even put their orders in.
Yeah. But I mean, a lot of it was just the full send nature of it. The commitment to the theme. When our motor broke in Jersey on practice day, we were all pretty bummed. We had spent a lot of money. That was supposed to be like our finally sort of a cheaty motor. I mean, nothing magic, but it was like a built motor from scratch, and we'd actually done the right things. And so that motor blew up on Friday, and we're all like, F this. Why are we even here? We had been on a string of broken stuff at that point. And I think it was Dean actually who was like, all right, guys, this is it. Go put your Speedos on. And I did not expect that from Dean. And all four of us are like, what? And he's like, we're doing this swap, and we're doing it in our Speedos. And then we all start kind of laughing at each other. And Travis is like, are we really doing this? And anyway, so long story short, we all kind of committed. Instead of being negative about it, we committed to like, let's make this a Lemons thing. Let's make this fun. And it's really hard to yell at your buddy that he's doing something wrong when homie's wearing a Speedo.
I would offer and we were friends at this point, but it was a bit intimidation too, because I remember when that Firebird fired up and it announced its presence with authority, the results notwithstanding. That car fired up late at night, and I was so bummed. I'm like, that car has been built by naked drunk people. And if I'd been in a team that didn't like you guys, it would have just been that much worse.
Like, damn it, they're going to be on track again. Damn it. It's big, it's loud, it's in my way. Yeah.
It's never in the way. It's always around you.
Yeah, there's some psychological warfare to that commitment aspect that I think you guys are underestimating. Because
it just makes you look like fun people, though. That's also what's great, is that you guys are full send, good racers, good people, but also look kind of crazy, or you're just like a good time.
Because we are.
Yes, I know.
Stumbling out of Greg's RV in last night's Speedo, pulling
one shoe,
looking for my shoes. Wait, who's first in the car? Oh, I am. They're announcing on the radio. Driver party, get your stupid driver in the car. I'm like, oh yeah, that's me.
That never happens at all. Who's the soberest? Not sure.
It's totally more fun passing the serious people when you're the not serious people. It's so much better.
It is
so much better.
There is something to that. Yeah.
Like Matt, you and I remember once at Thompson, you were in the Bird, I was in the Civic with Giraffe Civic, and we were just tearing through the entire field.
Yes.
Like nothing else. And everyone else who was trying to be all serious in their flat black cars doing that. Nope.
That's still one of the most fun stints. And that was very memorable for me because I mean, it was like Spaceballs where, he's trying to find him and you can't see him because he's latched onto the back of it. You were latched onto the back of the Firebird. You were so close to me. I couldn't see you in my mirrors, but I'm like, I know he's there. That was fun.
Yeah. So we've both had all of us have had experience with keeping multi-car teams operational, and now you've got almost like a bi-coastal team now. Well, now it's all West Coast, but you've had a lot of time making this whole thing work. So what have been the challenges and the ways you've gotten around those of keeping a big team with a lot of people and several cars? Like, how do you keep this rolling?
Well, on a personal level, I'm motivated to race. I got the bug early, and I'm kind of, I think you guys know this about me. I'm kind of like, I'm going to find a way one way or another. And so I don't really have a formula for it other than if some folks aren't motivated to race, then we're going to find people who are, right? And we have to figure out how that works. So, I mean, there was a lot of debate about what do we do with the Firebird. It could stay East Coast and be the East Coast car, but it was looking like it was only going to be on track once a year, which might be okay. That's an option, right? But I was like, the car's too good and we have too much time in it, and it's and it will probably end up back East. But for now, so the motivation level, I think, is it. It's been money and motivation. So when Dean was in Charlotte, he had built a car there, and I had the Solstice out here. So the thought was, we've got a car, whichever coast, we've got someone taking a car out. And at that point, it's like, well, you kind of ask, how do you manage multiple teams? We worked together on it, but there was a clear owner at that time anyway for each car. So Solstice was my problem. The Porsche was Dean's problem, and the Firebird was kind of our problem because we weren't sure what was going to happen with it. And so at this point, it's gotten even more complicated, right? Because the Solstice went north, so Tim owns that car. I currently kind of own the Firebird. Dean kind of owns the Porsche. So I think having people to take ownership of things is what has made this whole thing work. Donnie's got cars all over the country, and he's tries to own a lot of it, and it's interesting to watch. I'm like, when is the Lexus coming back out? He's like, oh well, it's going to be there for Jersey. It's like he's trying to manage a lot, right? And
Don't use Donnie as your example, everyone.
Yeah. Well, or do. I mean, he's having fun with it, right?
But you're doing team and strongman is what you're referring to. You've got, and there's plenty of teams that are successful as being the strongman, the one person that's trying to hold up a whole team. Yeah. And it seems like you got people that are owning that part, which is
and so that has been, I've been fortunate getting involved with Corey and Tim out here. And even, the Motherfuckers guys are awesome. And I was offered a seat in, so do you guys remember the Toyota that had 2 engines in it?
Yeah. Double suck.
So, yes, the double suck. So Larry is the owner of that. He's a Salt Lake guy. I had met him through Lemons years ago because I was in Salt Lake there for a lot of years, and he offered me a seat in his MR2 at Thunderhill, which was awesome. So it's like, I've made these connections where people are happy to have, I'm going to say, good drivers, but at least reliable drivers.
Well, all the things that went into, we just talked about being a good drive and drive.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And so the team management part with multiple cars in multiple places, really, and I don't want to call it delegating because I don't claim to own the team by any means. It's very much collaborative between the folks who are motivated to race.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that. It is a lot easier. Like, we'll go back to a couple of years ago when Jeff had the boat and we had the Civic, and most of the time Jeff and Jim would get the boat done. Chrissy and I would get the Civic done. We'd both bring it there. If one needed a bunch, that there's a disparity in work, great. The other people help. It worked out really, really well.
Yeah.
So as long as you have someone who's, going to be responsible and accountable for it,
right,
then I think you're good.
And you can call for help, right? So the CMP race, the Firebird went down to Dean, and there's no way the Porsche and the Firebird were going to be ready in time. So I took a week of vacation, which I don't have, it's precious little that I get. And we spent a week getting the car together. So, again, it's just motivation. It's really just motivation.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Interesting thing thinking about how to, what about people that want to get involved but can't make it rain like you do. They don't.
Yeah,
It's
helps.
because it does take a lot of money, especially when you're flying everywhere. Hotels, rentals. There are a lot of people that would love to do this, but not everybody can make that happen. Especially where people that they may have the vacation. Just like any idea of for people, especially if you know people that have done this, and how could you tell somebody to make it happen like you do? But that's your money.
And so I don't know Anton all that well. I mean, we're friends, but I just don't know him that well. But I think he's a great example of someone who has raced a lot. But he's done that through through having friends and offering to help. And so I think he's doing, he makes it work by being creative about how to be there. So it's, to your point, I have more money than time as a general rule. And I basically, sorry, I got somebody at the door here. So, in a job where I could travel, where I traveled for work, I would try to find ways to travel, I got to get well thing. There you go.
That's so great.
That's fantastic.
A little fruit basket with succulents and stuff in it. As I get
Did you time this?
It was amazing. No.
Who sent it? We got to know who sent it. This feels like a Berman or a Dickman thing.
A fruit basket. That's so
No,
great.
seriously, there's no card on there? Don't tease us. Don't tease us. All right.
Don't they have a claw basket? Come on.
Yeah. Oh, it's from work. It's from
college.
A claw basket. If somebody got you that, they would.
Nice of them.
They would.
It's really cool working for a private company where everyone knows everyone and actually gives a crap about each other.
Facts. Yeah. I'll give you that. I just started. But should I ever find myself needing a lot of surgery, a claw basket will go a long way.
It won't go a long way at all.
I'm going to drop that little Chrissy nugget of brilliance right there for anyone. Claw basket. And not just me. If you've got anyone not feeling good, claw basket. Yeah. That should be a thing.
if you don't have, I'll say, look, you need some money to race, right? If you don't have the money to travel to a lot of races or fund vehicles, you can show up and you can drive C cars for a lot cheaper than you can drive A cars, and that gets you on the track, right? You can offer to help people. Tim Burr found us when Jim and Jason and I were messing with that 240. Tim found us
from the past.
Right?
But you got Tim out of it, which is
totally worth it. And
yeah,
so Tim found us through the Lemons Forum. So I'd recommend, if you really want to get involved, right? Show up at whatever race you can get to, even if you're not going to drive, right? Just show up at races, meet people. If you have a skill, whether it's helping theme cars or helping organize things or just being there to help people move fuel jugs around. I mean, I can't tell you how many people have gotten involved just by showing up with Corey to help them for the weekend. And then lo and behold, next race, they're in the car. So get involved, right? This is the bottom line.
And while you're organizing that thought, pay attention, because we are emerging from the coronavirus and Lemons is now again allowing participants. Highly recommend going to the forums, because if they've got a free spot on their team that comes with the entry and you offer literally just come there and cook or grab burgers or do gas runs and say, look, I'm broke, I can only do this, someone will adopt you for that weekend. It helps if you like sleeping on shop floors.
Bring a drink, maybe bring some beer.
Yeah. Hey. If you show up with driver's gear and a great attitude and willingness to help, you'll probably end up driving something at some point in the weekend, because you'll end up helping somebody. They'll be happy. They'll put you out for a half hour, as long as you have a reasonable reputation and you're like you said, be a dude, not a dick, and it just works out. Yeah. Cool. That's excellent.
All right. I didn't mean to take any of Chrissy's stuff. So you're an organizer and a planner, and even though it doesn't always go that way, you've got a strategic vision. So without giving away too much, what's next for Sorry for Party / Ran with Parked, now that you guys are a West Coast juggernaut?
The juggernaut. I don't think there's really any big plans other than, so you guys know about Button Willow. We're going full send for Button Willow. For the first time, we will be fielding 4 cars and then some, right? Because we have other friends out here that'll be, the brown Camaro, and there's a small chance that Motherfuckers will get their car back together by then. Anyway, so the immediate plans is to show up in force at Button Willow. I'm hitting a milestone birthday, and hopefully I'll be 100% at least, 100% getting around. I won't be sports worthy yet as far as the ACL, but so that's really the big plan there. I mean, and there's a lot of planning going into that because we're trying to really send it. So anyone out there listening, if you want to come to Button Willow, contact me. Yes.
Button Willow is going to be an adventure. It's going to
be a hoot. I was a little butthurt that they're running the Corvette Museum the same weekend, because I got a lot of friends that'll be there, and I'd like to be there, quite frankly. But
it's a fun track.
You can't do everything, right? Unfortunately. Yeah. Beyond that, the Firebird, assuming that everything, we did a lot of work on it. We had the top end of the motor apart. So those Vortec heads that ran for 1 million miles in that car had been rebuilt once, finally gave up the ghost. So we found better heads that are on the car now, and
pulled them out of a dumpster.
Totally. Dean and I had the transmission apart. I mean, we had the transmission apart, which is really intimidating because there's a lot of small bits in there. We think we got it back together right. New axles in the car.
Worst.
That's the worst.
Oh, it's the worst.
So it's like we've done a lot of work on the Firebird now in the past 2 years. I mean, it's almost a new car. We've reinforced every piece of that car. Dean did a lot of work anyway. So we're hoping that's going to be great, and that it'll last another 30 races. Assuming that car stays together, that'll probably see a lot of racing out here. We may even take it back to Lucky Dog, which we did at Laguna Seca in January.
Yes.
That's while the kind of valves were going in it. So it wasn't really making the right power, and the tranny wasn't great, but we were only strongly mid-pack. And for those of you who know us, I mean, the car's not blinding fast, but it's usually, it's pointy end fast car for Northeast Lemons.
Absolutely.
So to be mid-pack, running what I considered pretty hot laps at Laguna Seca, I was like, wow, this is really a fast lead. So, maybe it'll be a little faster now that we've got a little bit better heads in it.
Hey, well, nothing else. The Bird's done the corkscrew.
Sure has, and looked good doing it.
As long as you got the pictures.
Yep. Good. And so the Solstice lives with Tim Burr for now. So that's so the Omega with Corey and the Solstice are up north, and we've got the Firebird and the Porsche 944 here in Southern California. So one of the benefits of having moved to California, I won't bitch about all the things I hate about California, but one of the big benefits is we have a lot of racetracks out here, and we have a lot of good racetracks. So within just a couple hours of LA, and similarly for the Bay Area, there's a bunch of great tracks. I loved Thunderhill. That was cool. So the strategy right now is to get as much seat time as we can, and Thunderhill's
topic.
That was it, right? So to that point, Thunderhill's a great example. Corey showed up in the Omega, Tim brought the Solstice, and I had signed up to drive the MR2 with Larry from Salt Lake, because he does arrive and drive. He offers them to selected people. And for a long time I wanted to drive that car because it's mid-engine and it's well prepped, dead stock. It makes no power. The thing is like supercharged and still makes like 120 horsepower or something, maybe a little more, 140. I don't know. Car's butt slow. But they put it in A because it's an MR2. Anyway, so that was a great example where
judges at that race must be a dick.
Yeah. We'll talk about that later, Mental. That car should not be an A. Anyway, but that's a great example where, so I drove, it was just 3 of us driving the Omega. So that's a lot of seat time already. I had 2 full stints in the MR2, a lot of seat time. And I had sold Hamza my ticket for the Solstice, figuring that was a pretty fair trade. I'll take his entry, put it towards the MR2. He gets to drive the Solstice. But then, of course, he couldn't stay for Sunday, so I drove the Solstice also. So on Sunday, 6.5 hour day, I drove for 5 hours.
incidentally winning your class in one of those cars.
And finishing the day in the Omega was like kind of eye-watering. I'm not gonna lie, it was really cool.
Somebody was cutting onions in your car.
So how do you get a lot of seat time? You pay a lot. In that case.
Well, pay a lot, but also, make friends, develop a strong reputation as being a sympathetic driver and a good teammate.
Yeah. And to that point, Anton was around and he's like, I'd really like to drive that Solstice. I'm like, well, you get your suit and we'll put you in that thing. So he drove for an hour. And of course, he matched my fast time in a matter of only a 40-minute stint. He matched my fast time for the weekend. He's a good driver.
Anton. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, that's Anton.
Cool.
Now you know how it feels.
Yeah.
So further out than that, I think we're just going to be, unless something changes, one of the cars breaks. I don't see a lot of big changes, although there is a not so secret plan to build a classic car on a modern chassis as a hat car. And I'm like giggling even thinking about it. But we'll unveil that at a later date. I'm really hoping to have a early 70s small quirky car mounted on a modern chassis. So the garage getting done here is a big step in the right direction. So hopefully lift goes in a month. And once I have that, I'll be able to store more cars. I can get more stuff in here to actually work on it. So right now I'm playing hot potato, trying to move cars around all the time without a big driveway because I'm in
welcome
LA.
to my world. Oh
yeah,
wait, we have a big driveway. We just have too many cars.
Well, I don't even have a driveway, so I got 2 cars parked on the street at any given time that I got to move every Thursday.
Oh, that's sad.
We did also acquire a 4th gen from a buddy of mine, low mileage, but it sat in the desert its whole life, so it's just like bliss, but solid drivetrain. So that could be a future option for the Failbird if we don't like the current situation, or could go into another project.
Perhaps a different small rear-wheel drive General Motors car that you have available. Who knows?
Yeah. And so the other things are Ranwen Park side of things. Corey's got the El Camino. He and Tim have been crushing it. That thing's going to be awesome. 70s patina.
Yes, look for it at a rally near you, and it is a legitimate, cheaply built car. That thing is amazing.
It's awesome. It sounds awesome. It's going to be great, and eventually it will probably end up on the track. We keep joking that it's going to, the drag strip at Sonoma. We keep joking that every lap, just bang it and smoke past them, start finish. And Corey's working on the Cortina, so I'm excited to see that car come together. It's an awesome little car. So, of course, that's getting an Ecotech drivetrain because we Ecotech everything around these parts.
Ecotech or LS, apparently.
Yeah.
There we go. Cool. All right. Anything else? Anything else you want to talk about? It's up to you, my friend. Where did we wrap this one up?
I did throw a question in there. I figured you'd be good, but if you don't want to ask that one, that's cool. Yeah, fair enough. All right. And do you have social media also while you're wrapping this one up?
Of course. Matt Farides on Facebook, or Sorry for Party Racing is the team name on Facebook.
All right. We'll get links to both of those.
Yeah. I mean, I could talk all night. Just depends what you guys want to talk about.
We can keep talking. Wait, what do you want to talk about? You pick a topic.
Who's coming to Buttonwillow, man?
Bring flights. Flights aren't exactly easy cross country, but
yeah.
Bring in the RV. So in fact, I was already making my arrangements today. So
yeah. So I know I'm super excited for that race. I haven't been this excited for a race in a minute. So
the problem is that Buttonwillow is just not a great place to go.
The track is actually good, and there's a good shower over by the kart facility, which I don't mind saying because, for listeners of this podcast.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not that bad. Unless it's 110. It's usually, so we've had a mix. Sometimes the weather's actually not. We've had highs around 90, and at night it'll be 60. It's beautiful, but sometimes it gets pretty hot there. Yes, it's a captive audience. You guys remember West Virginia, where you can't really go anywhere. Buttonwillow is kind of like that, but in the desert.
Yes,
we've been.
The track is fun.
That's why.
Yeah, okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Track is fun.
It was a long time ago, so
Okay.
but I don't think anything's gotten any better. There was an amazing taco place in Bakersfield, and that's it.
I think that's all the only good thing in Bakersfield. Yes.
There's not much there.
Yeah,
We're bringing everything, right? We're gonna have several RVs, and we're gonna have the whole gong show going on. So,
traveling circus and roadshow. Good.
Yeah, totally. And so we're also talking about doing electric car tour around the paddock.
Correct. A parade.
That's for environmental responsibility, right?
Uh-huh.
Yes. Okay,
well,
good.
when we say electric car tour, what we mean is Power Wheels.
Power Wheels.
Yes.
So we're trying to get everyone a Power Wheels.
I got mine.
To do a parade around. Yeah, we saw it. It's awesome.
Yes.
Disco balls and all those things. And another big thing is, we're trying to go hit the F1 in Austin later this year, which I'm excited about.
That sounds amazing.
I know Jackie was pushing that one, and it's not like Jackie ever has a bad idea aside from Dean. Oh, Dean will admit it. Yeah.
Cool.
That sounds
All
good.
Right. Well, let's try to hit up as many of those as we can. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's the plan. Is we have lots of cars. So that the hope is if we offer seat time here, that will be reciprocated, and that is as much as you could only be the seat horse side of things, we try to provide as well. Hamza had a blast up at Thunderhill.
Yeah, the seat for seat swap is another great way to do it if you're in different coasts. Is kind of works out nicely for everybody.
I was so stoked to drive that seat.
I know,
dude. So were we.
Yeah,
I can't even tell you how excited. I was the most excited I've been to drive a car in like years.
You drove in the rain. Hey, you kept it straight too.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah.
All right. I think it's time to move along to the next one. I don't know what to call this. It's not a Hello Sweet. It's not really on the spot.
I know.
I've
got it. It's just the stripes.
We're going to talk about zebras. This is zebra safety. Did you know that zebras have several forms of self-defense? They could defend their herd and territory by kicking, biting, and pushing predators. So there we go. That's zebra safety right there. They're also really fast. They can travel 40 to 55 miles an hour to escape from threats. So we've got biting, right? Zebra. Okay. They are always on the lookout for danger, keeping vigilant for signs of lions, hinnies, leopards, cheetahs, and BMWs. And at night, at least one member of the group stays awake to keep watch. That's what you guys say. Whoever's still up. No, I'm keeping watch.
No, that doesn't happen.
Just keep watch, guys. Glug, glug, glug.
Yep.
Me and my whiskey.
Yep. When a threat approaches, they stand together in solidarity, like a BMW. Yep. The majority of zebras lead fairly social lives. Yeah, they do. Right.
This is really eerily accurate.
This is awesome.
This is great.
It translates so well.
This next one, I'm not sure. They're impressive climbers. I don't know. You guys, you make it up that hill at Thompson for the bonfire and don't fall in. So that's good.
Yeah.
Top of the tower at New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Yep. Each species have different types of stripes, and I think each of the cars they're a little different.
And all of the people,
same, right?
Everybody comes in with their different colors and their
different stripes.
Yeah.
Different stripes.
Because there are apparently 3 species of zebra in the wild. And lastly, those stripes are most likely a form of pest control. Apparently.
I'm curious.
That's zebra safety. It's
that's a first,
right? Apparently, horses are bitten by flies disproportionately more often than zebras under the same conditions. So it's not just decoration; it has a purpose, and that purpose is fun.
So I also love this because a group of zebras is called a dazzle of zebras.
Dazzle,
perfect.
And that is perfect.
Yes.
If you guys saw the wrap-up video for Thunderhill, there was a full-body Ford that rolled in, and they had painted the car in like chalkboard paint, so you could draw on it with chalk. And so of course Tim Burr runs over there, and he got a couple of people together, and he copied the party racing theme, but in chalk on the chalkboard car. So we had a dazzle of zebras to start the day on Saturday morning.
Actually, that's how you guys rolled through tech too. All three of them, the LTD, the Omega.
So
it was
good.
Fantastic. Yeah, really well done.
Awesome.
All
Okay.
right.
Great.
Are we going to do this with music, or are we just doing it cold?
We can do it with music. Well, first off, do we have any idea what we're doing for our next show, Mental?
And well, when you say we,
Mental,
you mean you, because unfortunately I will be
you're
working
not
the
be
next
here.
3 weeks. Yes.
Yeah,
If you
we'll
need
have
me,
Jeff
text
back.
me. I'll try and do the show notes. But yeah.
No, we can do that. Usually you ask somebody, and we say no. So this time I'm asking you.
We do. Should we not tell it?
But I will say, you should consider having Matt back. He is an excellent host.
Hey, we always like having Matt around. I think
Quieter than Jeff.
I don't have to be. Depends on what I have to drink.
And he has better hair too.
Especially right now.
Hopefully next time I'll be able to drink with you.
Matt, thanks so much for coming on the show. I know it was kind of short notice, and we really appreciate it.
No, it's always a pleasure, guys.
And you have no idea how much I am looking forward to Buttonwillow.
Yeah,
it's going to be
stoked.
So much fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and so the big takeaway from this episode is, if you want to drive a lot, become friends with Three Pedal Mafia, or don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
No, there's no or. It's an and. It's don't be a dick.
Totally. So, thanks for downloading us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you will join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. Hey, look at Matt. So there you go. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. Totally free. You get what you pay for. Then go to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating. Even if you hate the show, give us 5 stars anyway and tell us why. If you have any questions, show ideas, emotional outbursts, whatever, drop us a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. You can still text us, really mental, at 484-243-0455. He especially likes junk pictures. Find us on Instagram or Twitter at everyone.racers. Thanks again, and until next week, keep that shiny zebra side up, especially when you're climbing. Unless there is no shiny side, then just keep the hoofs down.